before the war threatened the honest working white man. Labor concentrated and well directed at a cost of 20 or 25 cents a day, and aided by machinery with capital to back it, will break down any common shop no matter how much industry or ingenuity the owner may display. Okay, and this is a little small, little tangent, little parallel. But what they're saying is, by having these convicts being able to work crazy hours and not being able to complain or run away or do anything, you bring in machinery that can help them out. So, you know, somebody mentioned making license plate or getting railroad work or whatever. You got machinery for that as well. If I own my own shop and I'm employing people, I can't compete with that. And the small parallel I want to make, just something to throw that out there for you guys to think about. It sounds to me, at least, very similar to the argument being made right now about corporations that outsource to other countries. Small businesses in America are saying, how can we compete with not just, you know, Walmart, Target, but how can we compete with the Nikes or the Reeboks, whatever, when they get to outsource all their stuff to Indonesia and the Philippines and China and Taiwan, and pay these people what they're talking about, 20, 25 cents? Sounds very similar today. They're probably lucky in some places today to get that much. But they still working crazy hours, putting in all this work, making all these shoes or whatever the product is. And how can we compete with that when our laws in America say you have to pay people whatever the minimum wage is? They can only work etc. hours. And if you work them over the hour, they have the right to complain and they have a certain legal recourse. Small business saying, how can we compete with that? You're going to ruin us. You're going to run us into the ground. And that's pretty much what you see corporate America doing. All the big businesses buying up all the little businesses because they can't maintain. And that ideology got to start, actually before this time, got to start even earlier, but we see it pop up with a certain tinge, with a certain look when you start talking about convict lease system and you start talking about convict labor. Okay, so, you know, just a small, you know, tangent little point that I thought was interesting. Okay, so just to finish up paragraph, despite these obstacles, Phillips concluded, Mississippi should rebuild its penitentiary. He could think of no other reasonable alternative. Okay. Anybody know who Joseph Emerson Brown and or Jeremiah W. South is in the reading? Just two guys. Joseph Emerson Brown, Jeremiah W. South. What page is this one? Anybody, nobody? Okay. It is all good. I will tell you who they are. Okay, Joseph Emerson Brown. Joseph Emerson Brown. E-M-E-R-S-O-N. I'm sure about that. I got it written down. Emerson. Joseph Emerson Brown. Jeremiah W. South. South as in the region. That's his last name. Okay, Brown, Georgia governor in 1865. In 1865, as the governor of Georgia, he called for an end of centralized penitentiary. He said, we need to scrap it, get rid of it. Okay, 1865. Ayer says by the 1880s, Joseph Emerson Brown made a fortune off the convict lease system as a senator of Georgia. Okay, so he goes from governor to senator. As governor in 1865, he says, no, it's a bad idea. As a senator, he says, sure, I'm getting money hand over fist, making it rain. Jeremiah W. South. He's a Kentucky official. They don't have a Kentucky official. Okay, and from 1869 to 1880, pretty much I think that was the year he died, or close to the year he died. He leased convicts. Okay, from that time period, 1869 to 1880, he leased convicts. Okay. And by him leasing convicts to the right people, to the right corporations, to the right companies that backed certain people, that gave money to certain people, it is estimated that he controlled a third of the legislators in Kentucky, simply by him being involved in the convict lease system. So people say, dude, I can't mess with South, because he's leasing the guys for my boy's company. And if I mess with him, he'll stop leasing the convicts to my boy's company, and then I can't get money from my boy's company anymore. So whatever South says, let's go with it. A third, okay, a third of the legislatures in Kentucky. And I found this fascinating, so I had to look these guys up. Okay, look these guys up, found a little bit more information. You know, you guys can take note on this if you want to. In 1881, okay, while serving in the U.S. Senate, the New York Times, okay, even, you know, New York Times around 1881, they reported that Joseph Emerson Brown was worth $1 to $2 million. This is July 2nd, 1881 New York Times article. Joseph Emerson Brown estimated worth up to $1 to $2 million. At his death, some estimated his wealth was up to up to $12 million. $12 million. Straight Convict Lease system. Money. It's all it was. All money. Mind you, this is the same guy in 1865. He said we should end all of this. We don't need the central penitentiary. We don't need the system. How much do you think that's worth right now? Oh, I don't even know. I was interested, and I might go back and just try to do the numbers, try to figure out how to do the numbers. But I mean, you had the 1881 is $12 million. $12 million is a lot of money right now. Okay, so this 1881, I don't even want to fathom how much that would be worth right now. Okay, and that's Joseph Emerson Brown. Jeremiah South, I looked him up too. He got elected warden of, and I didn't find the penitentiary's name, it just said penitentiary, but he got elected warden of a penitentiary in Kentucky. And he ran it for 4 years, after which he retired on an amount of $50,000 to $75,000. Okay, a little bit less than Brown, but still a nice hefty 401k, if you will. Nice little retirement plan. And that was him being a warden. They ran, what did it say? They had a race, if you will, something like an election. He ran against the incumbent guy. They liked South, elected South. He became the warden of this penitentiary, and again, through convict lease labor, okay, through the convict lease system, what was it, $50,000 to $75,000 a year he was able to put away and retire. Okay, so the point of all of this, again, is to show you how the government, this is the government's investment in the mass incarceration, so not just locking up black people here and there, but and lock them up in high, disproportionate amounts. Okay, this is what the government had back then, and still in many ways has invested in doing that. Okay, and last little point about that, about the government, according to Ayers, okay, or this is a question. According to Ayers, why was the convict lease even invented in the first place? Okay. So we're going to kind of, it's a little backwards. But why did we even have this system? Okay.
So you're reading, I remember that there was some sort of dispute, particularly in the South, as you already mentioned, like between abolishing like the harsh way that they punish people through branding, whipping, slashing, you know, that kind of stuff in public, to a more, what some terms with republicanism and all those forces that were mentioned in the class notes, to a more humanitarian sort of system. That was some of the arguments. Right. Not necessarily that that was the case.
That was part of it. That was some.
That's what I remember.
Ayers specifically, and we need to go through this, so I'm just going to make this quick. But it's page 192. So, you know, if you have your reading, look at it. If you don't, it's at home. Just remember the page number, go look at it. He makes a specific argument, and pretty much his argument is saying this. State finances in the South were flammable. Okay, they did not have enough money. Mind you, this is post-Civil War. So Reconstruction, Payne talks about black Reconstruction, but you have Reconstruction of the South as a whole. Physically, they need to reconstruct all the bombed out cities, all the messed up bridges, etc., etc. And also economically and politically, we need to bring them back up, because I think Francis mentioned this. You had a scorched earth there, if you will. So you had entire fields laid to waste, put to fire. You can't plant there anymore, the dirt's no good, etc., etc. We need to build the South back up. So we need to reconstruct the South as well as this free black population. Excuse me. So due to all that, these state finances, they don't have any money, they're broke. You have, and we mentioned this earlier, you have a high number of prosecutions, high number of people getting taken to court and being found guilty. And you got a high number, because you got a high number of convicts, but you got a low number of prisons. Okay, so just like that paragraph you read a couple minutes ago, you got all these people in general, especially all these black people, being put into prisons, but we don't have enough prisons to put them into. It's overcrowded. Okay. And then the convict lease system, Ayer says, at least in his estimation, it started as a temporary solution. They said, okay, we can't put them in prison per se. We can throw them on the chain gang. We can put them in the slums. We can put them in the mines. We can put them out here, out working, outside, as a way to alleviate, having them in these penitentiaries. We can't build